On a small island blanketed by lush green forests, hidden behind the trees, stood a school that few knew existed. A student named Nakajima Nanao had transferred from the city to this isolated island about 6 months ago. This was an academy that gathered children with special abilities, and like other protagonists blessed with main character energy, Nanao possessed no powers and became the target of everyone's bullying. During class, the teacher explained their mission. Students with special abilities were isolated from society for special training to fight against the enemies of humanity, beings that had appeared in the world 50 years ago and threatened mankind's survival. The students had grown tired of hearing such words, as this was the familiar speech given whenever new students arrived. The kid who always bullied others charged forward wanting to show off, but the new student simply remained silent and shot him a deathly glare. Everyone predicted this newcomer possessed terrifying abilities. Shortly after, another student arrived in class, a pink-haired girl named Hiragi Nana, who claimed to have the ability to read everyone's thoughts. Being seated next to such a beautiful girl, Nanao couldn't help but feel somewhat pathetic about himself. When the bully saw the new girl chatting with Nanao, he approached to deliver another round of humiliation. The newly arrived girl immediately realized the bully was trying to impress her, so she exposed him on the spot, leaving him utterly embarrassed. This girl Nana seemed very interested in Nanao, and with her outgoing personality and abilities, she continuously showed off. When it came time to elect a class representative, many students raised their hands wanting to use the position to prove themselves. Nana suddenly raised her hand and nominated Nanao for class representative. Everyone found this ridiculous since Nanao was powerless after all. The new male student suggested they should have a battle to decide the class representative, then quickly left the classroom. Indeed, this was a good idea, and the whole group eagerly agreed, except for Nanao, who knew his time was running out. Going back to the past, Nanao was raised in an unusual family. His abilities didn't make him special, but rather made him the most powerless in the entire clan. So he was sent to the academy carrying his parents' wish for him to become a leader who protects everyone. But his aspirations only became a joke to everyone. After school, Nanao decided not to participate in tomorrow's battle since he couldn't win anyway. Despite this, Nana still followed Nanao, wanting him to show her around the island. Though confused, he still took her to the cafeteria. Besides tuition, electricity and water at the dormitory were all covered by the government, and students even received living allowances. At the dining table, Nana read Nanao's mind and explained why she had been following him. Nana felt her ability wasn't that interesting, as it was very noisy in crowded places, and especially because of it, she had no friends at all. Setting aside this topic, they walked to an open area to watch the sea. Nana sensed that Nanao actually had abilities, but just wasn't revealing them. Nanao believed that since those capable of fighting the enemies of humanity were gathered on this island, it would inevitably attract enemy attention and surveillance, so he didn't want to expose himself and be eliminated by them. Nana wasn't about to believe him, but at that moment, something suddenly rushed toward her, causing her to fall from the cliff. At school, the new male student was researching information about his classmates. Back at the cliff, Nana fortunately didn't fall, as it was just a gust of wind. The two quickly returned to the dormitory. Nana still believed Nanao was most suited for the class representative position because he had a pure heart, while the others seemed somewhat arrogant. Nanao just silently listened to Nana trying to persuade him. When she mentioned his father, Nanao's attitude changed, saying Nana understood nothing, and that he came here only to fulfill his parents' wishes. Nana wanted to say more, but Nanao had already returned to his room. Lying on his bed recalling everything, Nanao felt somewhat suspicious about the new girl's intentions. He remembered his past again, how since he started school, his father had always forced him to become class representative and fulfill unreasonable duties. At this moment, Nana came by to return Nanao's wristwatch. The next day, the battle was only between the bully Maguo and the ice boy. The teacher set the rules to only use fists to fight. The classmates watched excitedly from afar. Despite being warned, the two immediately used their abilities to fight as soon as the match began. The final result was the Ice Kid winning. Amid everyone's cheers, Maguo immediately became furious and used his fire power to attack everyone. Just as the flames were about to reach Nana and the others, Nanao didn't hesitate to rush forward and use his ability to protect them. From this, we finally learned that Nanao had the ability to nullify others' powers, an absolutely top-tier ability. After their astonishment, the other students immediately gathered around to thank him and wanted him to be class representative. That evening, Nanao and Nana met again at the rocky cliff. Nanao thanked her for motivating him, helping to ease the knot in his heart. Nanao's ability seemed ineffective against Nana's mental power, as he could only nullify abilities that physically touched him. Nana felt grateful to Nanao because his ability meant she didn't have to accidentally hear someone's inner thoughts. But just as their friendship was established, Nana suddenly pushed Nanao off the cliff. Nanao fortunately grabbed onto a rope and heard Nana's confession. It turned out she had been using her deductive abilities to read situations rather than having any mind-reading power at all, and her purpose in coming to this island was to eliminate them. She believed that those on this island were the true enemies of humanity. After learning of Nanao's true strength and the danger he posed, she could no longer let him be. Nanao then fell straight into the water in utter horror and despair. The next day, a directive appeared on Nana's phone, reminding her to always remember to eliminate all the superhumans in this school. Nana's past at the organization revealed to us the truth of this world. One day, the enemies of humanity first appeared, wiping out an entire city and slaughtering all living things. But the true identity of these killers wasn't aliens or monsters, as this school claimed, but humans who had awakened superpowers. As their numbers grew, their power became so great that neither law nor morality could handle them. To ensure safety, nations established a countermeasure agency, recruiting superhumans for military purposes to save the world. Thus, a superpowered police unit with authority was born. But this cooperation plan seemed ineffective as they were all too ambitious and arrogant, even turning around to betray and bite back at humanity. Nevertheless, after 5 years of fighting, humanity achieved victory. Thanks to this global event, people's views and government policies gradually changed. They gathered those with superpowers into special schools or training facilities, using the excuse of fighting the enemies of humanity to train them. Nana was assigned by her superiors to secretly eliminate these individuals and ensure the superhumans wouldn't unite to defeat powerless people, creating peace for the world. The next day, they were taken outside for training by the river. Mabuo came to ask about Nanel since he wasn't in class, but Nana pretended to know nothing. At this moment, classmate Mikiru was showing fear toward the training exercise, while other students had their own ways to pass their training, mainly using superpowers. Nana quickly locked onto a new target, the one with ice powers. Seeing the danger these people posed, she became even more convinced of what she had heard and felt what she was doing was right. Immediately, Nana approached to befriend Ice Boy Cory, and with just a few flattering words, he was already pleased with himself. Using her amazing observational skills, Nana assessed that this kid had a weakness, as he couldn't freeze people at will. Seeing everyone discussing Nanao's disappearance, Nana silently thought of ways to handle the situation. While quietly observing the whole class, she found another new target. Another dangerous person appeared in class, one with the ability to stop time, and also a classmate with hidden potential. Without wasting words, Nana befriended Shibusawa in the cafeteria, wanting to continue gathering information from this student. Shibusawa explained that his ability was to go back and change the past to lead to new results in the present. His goal was to completely erase all evil from this world, and Nana could only smirk inside hearing this. At that moment, the new white-haired student suddenly appeared, suggesting Shibusawa use his ability to investigate Nanao's disappearance. It seemed this guy already suspected Nana, continuously interrogating her about being the last person with Nanao before he went missing. Nana felt Kyoya was using his power on her, but couldn't prove it. She quickly deflected the conversation about Nanao, even pretending to use mind-reading superpowers to shift suspicion toward Kyoya. But feeling he had gotten the information he needed, Kyoya quickly turned and left the cafeteria. After the suggestion, Shibusawa stood up wanting to find Nanao, starting by going back to the past at the dormitory. Nana stood in a corner watching and analyzing. She realized this guy had some limitation in using his superpower, otherwise he would have already discovered that she had dealt with Nanao. Nana decided on how to handle Shibusawa, starting by killing him when he couldn't resist. Otherwise he could return to the past to escape and her identity would be exposed. Shibusawa could go back a maximum of 1 day, and the further back he went, the more exhausted he became. Going back more than 12 hours would leave him nearly depleted upon returning to the present. Hearing this, Nana wondered why Shibusawa couldn't see all of Nanao's movements throughout the day when going to the past. Perhaps this was also a weakness of this superpower. Using his ability once more to return to the past, he found that Nanao's last location was with Nana at the cliff, making Nana feel even more endangered. Then Shibusawa mentioned another aspect of his ability, that he couldn't make eye contact or be seen by anyone in the past. After this trip, Shibusawa began suspecting Nana, and the two headed to the final location so Shibusawa could use his ability right at the cliff. After a while, Shibusawa returned, panting heavily, saying that Nana had noticed him. Thus the memory had changed. On that day, Nana had seen Shibusawa and forced him to return to the present, after which she killed Nanao. Thanks to this, the kid no longer suspected Nana, and she quickly headed back with him. That night, Nana quietly found a shovel and ran to the dormitory to tell Shibusawa something. The two immediately rushed into the forest, talking about how Nanao had been attacked by an enemy of humanity there. According to Nana, Nanao had been devoured without a trace, and she had been too terrified to do anything but run. She continuously begged Shibusawa to go back to the past and save Nanao. For the sake of justice, Shibusawa immediately agreed. The moment he disappeared, Nana dropped her act and silently used the shovel she had found to dig a hole in the ground. She walked to the frozen lake, feeling her plan had succeeded. Shibusawa couldn't swim, so he would drown there on the 13th, and the next day Kori would freeze the lake, meaning Shibusawa would never know why he died, only that his body would be frozen here forever. The next day, Nana returned to class as if nothing had happened, passing by Kyoya. At that moment, Kyoya had found his way to the cliff on a rainy day. When he saw something, he immediately jumped down. The next day at school, it was already the second day since Nanao's disappearance, and Shibusawa was also absent. Nana silently reminded herself to be more careful. Everyone was discussing the mysterious new student Kyoya, even secretly suspecting he might be an enemy of humanity who had infiltrated their ranks. At this moment, Kori asked Nana to guess what he was thinking. Nana used her extraordinary observational skills to remind Kori that since he already had a girlfriend, he shouldn't stick so close to other people. Everyone became even more in awe of her mind-reading ability. But then Kyoya walked in and analyzed the situation, noting that despite the heavy rain this morning, Kori only had the right side of his clothes wet, while his girlfriend sitting over there had the left side of her clothes wet, suggesting they had shared an umbrella and thus making it easy to deduce. Kyoya entered the classroom soaking wet. Surprising everyone, Nana approached Kyoya, but he continuously refused her, so she secretly followed him instead. She only saw Kyoya buy a carton of milk and enter the equipment room before leaving again. Nana immediately waited until no one was around to enter that room and investigate. The milk Kyoya bought had been poured into a bowl on the floor. It turned out there was a cat being raised in this room. Nana felt this Kyoya was very difficult to probe, so she started by pointing out the seaweed on Kyoya's head. Kyoya didn't care, but then said he wanted to be friends with Nana, leaving her stunned. The two entered Kyoya's dormitory room. Nana silently observed and was again stunned to see the room was filled with nothing but piles of manga and snacks. Kyoya wanted Nana to play video games with him, wanting to use this method to make friends. While playing, Kyoya expressed that he felt Nana made friends with everyone very quickly and wanted to learn from her. Nana offered some advice, like finding common ground between two people. Meanwhile, being distracted by conversation, Nana lost the game. Kyoya's gaze made Nana feel confused, but his awkwardness left her speechless. Nana asked if Kyoya was investigating Nanao's disappearance because of this. Kyoya explained that he had a younger sister who had come to this island before him, and since then had vanished without a trace. He came here to investigate this matter, and Nanao's disappearance along with the school's silent response made him suspicious. Kyoya recalled what he had observed. Although superhumans were supposedly treated as treasures, the school only trained them in trivial matters and let the students do whatever they wanted, which made Kyoya suspicious. Nana distracted Kyoya with a manga volume, having already decided on her next target, this nosy person. Before leaving, Kyoya suddenly took out Nanao's watch, horrifying Nana. Kyoya requested that Nana accompany him back to the crime scene. Kyoya asked what Nana had done on the 13th, because according to his deduction, that was the day Nanao disappeared, most likely after school ended. The safety rope had been cut, and in the water was a damaged wristwatch stopped at 6:10, providing sufficient evidence to determine the time of disappearance. Nana pretended to know nothing, explaining that she had parted ways with Nanao after that. Nana even steered public opinion by suggesting Nanao had committed suicide. Kyoya instead maintained that Nanao had been assassinated, and leaving the watch there was his way of seeking help. He further believed this was done by an enemy of humanity. Nana felt danger overwhelming her, as this person was a far more dangerous element than Nanao by 10,000 times. Kyoya wanted to report to the school and asked Nana to help him do this. Nana immediately seized this opportunity to ask Kyoya about his ability, but Kyoya asked her back, wondering why someone who could read minds would need to ask such a thing. Seeing the person before her becoming suspicious, Nana was about to do something, but Kyoya dismissed his suspicions of Nana on his own. The next day, Nana sent a request to her superiors wanting to learn about all the students' abilities. Her superiors only said that these superhumans' abilities had no limits and could evolve with physical development. There had once been an attempt to eliminate someone with the ability to control microorganisms in their body, and that person had released a large amount of deadly virus into the air. When publicly gathered for execution, they would band together to resist, so sending someone to handle them one by one was the surest method. Nana recalled Kyoya, speculating that he had superhuman physical abilities. These superhumans, despite having powers, also had limitations. She wanted to continue infiltrating to discover Kyoya's superpower. The next day in class, when the teacher heard about Nanao's disappearance and the watch's evidence, he immediately showed reluctance to take responsibility, saying this matter couldn't be made public. Nana suggested temporarily keeping quiet and communicating with higher-ups instead. Nana understood clearly that these teachers wouldn't have any information about this matter. Leaving the teacher's office, Nana directed Kayuya toward the cat that Nanao used to raise, then ran off. Kayuya had suspected Nana from the beginning and was suspicious of the entire island. He continued buying a carton of milk to feed the cat. Compiling everything he had learned, Kayuya became even more suspicious of everything. Nana once again followed Kayuya. The superhumans gathered here would be secretly massacred by those without powers, so those who sought the truth or spoke up about abnormalities were the ones who needed to be prioritized for elimination. Nana felt she still held an advantageous position since no one currently suspected her. On his side, Kayuya was still thinking about those so-called monsters, also feeling he was in an advantageous position. Nana continued analyzing Kayuya. Though his room was messy, the areas around his living and bathroom spaces were very clean. Garbage bags were carefully double-wrapped, and tomatoes still had expiration warning stickers on them, proving this person had issues with attention to small details. Sure enough, just as he was about to turn on the stove to heat milk, a large explosion rang out from the faculty room. Nana had taken advantage of Kayuya's inability to smell the gas in the room to act. After the fire occurred, Nana stood outside appearing frightened, but only saw Kayuya with a scorched arm. She was about to leave to call everyone, but Kayuya immediately pulled her down to the ground. Nana watched in astonishment as Kayuya's body gradually recovered, while he continuously voiced his suspicions toward her. It turned out Kayuya had the ability of immortality and eternal youth, and the price he paid for it was the inability to smell anything. Despite being full of suspicion toward Nana, Kayuya only said they were friends, so all those suspicions were just coincidences, right? Nana then smiled normally as she watched Kayuya leave, secretly determined to find Kayuya's weakness. Another new day arrived, and Nana silently listened to Kayuya talk about the fire in the equipment room. Kayuya didn't say much, only once again mentioning Nanao's disappearance as if not wanting anyone to forget. Everyone indeed began to have doubts, since the missing person wasn't just Nanao, but also Shibusawa. After failing with Kayuya, Nana had made him insist that he had been attacked by an enemy of humanity. Nanao's death couldn't be covered up forever either. She wanted to take her next action, but also needed to find a way to get past Kayuya's watchful eyes. At that moment, the students rushed in excitedly saying Mikiru had received a love letter. Her friend read the letter aloud to everyone, and Nana silently cursed them as a bunch of tactless fools. Mikiru then noticed the wound on Nana's leg, a consequence of being pulled down by Kayuya yesterday. At that moment, the girl suddenly came over and licked Nana's wound, stunning her. From what the others said, we learned that this girl Mikiru had the ability to heal wounds, and the price she paid was a shortened lifespan. Nana went into the bathroom to compile data on Mikiru. Although being able to heal others' wounds could be considered a good thing, a monster was still a monster. This healing ability greatly affected her purging process, so she still needed to eliminate her early. Just as Nana stepped out of the bathroom, she encountered Kayuya. Nana realized this person was tailing her. On the other side, Mikiru was standing in the school garden waiting for the person who had written her the love letter. Nana also appeared there at this time, exposing that no one would come because this was just a prank by those mean friends. The two girls immediately ran away. Nana reminded Mikiru that she was being bullied by them. By observing the love letter, Nana had realized these two friends deliberately wrote it with the true content being that Mikiru was an idiot. Only then did Mikiru shed tears, saddened that she had considered them friends. Nevertheless, she still thanked Nana for telling her. Thanks to this, Nana had another opportunity to befriend Mikiru, unaware that Kayuya had been watching everything from above. After their meal, Mikiru and Nana quickly became close friends. Returning to her room, Nana summarized that Mikiru was a person with a puppy-like personality who healed others by licking their wounds, whether internal or external. This girl could also heal herself, except that healing was limited to the area that was licked. From this, Nana found her approach to dealing with Mikiru. She would attack from behind. Just as Nana stepped out of her room, she saw Kayuya sitting outside, saying he wanted to guard her from enemies of humanity. If that was the case, how could Nana take action? But Kayuya stubbornly insisted on staying outside, so she could only return to her room. Kayuya quickly suspected Nana once again. He quickly realized this person's trick. She had snuck out through the window. Indeed, at that moment, Nana suddenly burst into Mikiru's room and easily lured the girl to turn her back toward her. Right then, a loud noise rang out from the girls' dormitory, and Kayuya immediately rushed over. Throughout the afternoon, Nana had been with Mikiru and quickly befriended her. Kayuya felt this was a pattern very similar to Nanao's disappearance. He hypothesized that if enemies of humanity didn't exist, then Nana was the most suspicious target. But upon opening the door, Kayuya was stunned to see that Nana was the one who had been attacked from behind. Nana explained she had been sleeping in her room when she heard an enemy of humanity outside the window. Seeing they were targeting Mikiru's room, she had quickly run in here. Mikiru also said Nana had shielded her, and that the enemy seemed to be the invisible type described in textbook. Kayuya now doubted his own deduction. Nana deliberately injuring herself under the guise of an enemy of humanity attack in front of everyone would cause an uproar throughout the school, while also helping her hide by becoming a victim. This way, Nanao's death, Kyouyu's attack, and other student incidents would all be grouped into this event. To make everyone believe the rumor that enemies of humanity had arrived, she decided to sacrifice herself momentarily, then have Mikiru come save her. Nana decided she would become the leader and rule this school. The next day, Kyouyou again spoke with Nana and Mikiru to learn about last night's incident. Nana once again repeated her testimony. Kyouyou asked why Nana hadn't called him since he had the ability of immortality, which would have been safer. Nana made the excuse that she was too panicked to think of anything. Kyouyou summarized the events, becoming even more suspicious about the enemy's purpose. Kyouyou quietly drew close to Nana, pointing out the holes in the recent incident, such as why the enemy of humanity targeted Mikiru, how the monster could be both invisible and silent simultaneously, and why it ran away when everyone arrived, since massacring everyone wouldn't be strange for such a monster. Nana then used her supposed mind-reading superpower as an excuse, claiming Kyouyou was doubting the enemy of humanity and its existence. That was indeed the case. Kyouyou had two hypotheses in mind. Either there was a third person in the room, or Nana had stabbed herself. Nana wasn't worried at all because her actions had left absolutely no openings, nor could any motive be found. To this day, Kyouyou still didn't know Nana's motive in killing Nanao and attacking him. Kori, Magu, and the other classmates then gathered around worrying about Nana and the incident at school. Everyone was discussing choosing a leader when Nana brought up Nanao's case. She cried, feeling guilty for not being able to use her mind-reading ability to save Nanao. Indeed, everyone immediately sympathized with her, and Mikiru then suggested making Nana the leader. The classmates immediately agreed, and Nana's plan had succeeded. Kyouyou looked at the uniform that had been sewn up after the wound and remained silent. After becoming leader, Nana had even more opportunity to ask Mikiru to compile information about their classmates' superpowers. The innocent Mikiru immediately accepted the task. Nana was pleased. From now on, whether enemies of humanity appeared or disappeared was all within her control. Handling the superhumans afterward would be much easier. She just needed to honor them as true war heroes. Kyouyou then also approached to apologize for suspecting her. He analyzed that based on Nana's wound, she might have been stabbed in the back with a skewer, screwdriver, or chisel. But Nana easily redirected the weapon to a monster's claw. She also realized she couldn't continue using that chisel anymore, as it would arouse suspicion among these people. That night, Nana went outside to get some kind of soil, then concocted it into some food. In the boys' dormitory, Kyouyou played games while compiling the situation. If the weapon was a chisel or skewer, it could easily be hidden inside clothing. Nana had likely staged stabbing herself because she had Mikiru who could heal, then pretended to be a victim to seize control and kill everyone. Although Kyouyou was on the right track, he had no concrete evidence. On the other side, Nana had created a new poison, wanting to finish off Kyouyou. She was confident that as long as she wasn't discovered at the scene, she would forever remain innocent and never be exposed. Just as Nana returned to the dormitory, she encountered a blonde classmate named Hadadera. The young man revealed that he had the ability to see the future. He directly pulled out a photo showing himself being killed by Nana in a room. Nana was stunned by the current situation, but she still acted normally while analyzing the photo. That room was the equipment room, and the time she would do this was 10 at night. Without many words, Hadadera pulled Nana to a school cafeteria. Despite it being late at night, the saleswoman still kept it open due to her laid-back attitude. Sitting at the table, Hadadera introduced himself as a former prodigy. Years ago, he had received a photo of himself getting a 0 on a test, so he had studied hard to avoid that future. But the result was that he got severely sick and couldn't perfectly participate in the exam. Hadadera explained that the future was something that couldn't be changed. He even pulled out a photo of Nana getting a bowl of soba noodles splashed in her face. Right when the saleswoman brought the noodles, Nana tried switching to Katsudon instead. But just as the saleswoman turned to leave, she tripped and fell, and the bowl of soba noodles still splashed onto Nana's head, exactly like the photo. Nana asked what Hadadera wanted. Hadadera then pulled out a photo of Nana pushing Nanao off the cliff. The situation had now completely changed. It turned out Hadadera had obtained this photo since the day she first transferred here. Only now did Nana understand why he hadn't made the photo public and blown everything up. She immediately acted frightened, not wanting to go public for fear of scaring everyone. That was exactly what Hadadera was waiting for, and he immediately demanded blackmail. Nana realized this arrogant blonde was someone without friends. Even if he tried to expose the Nanao murder here, no one would believe him anyway. Hadadera continuously threatened to reveal the truth that Nana was the enemy of humanity. Nana secretly calculated in her mind, if this guy talked to Kyouyou, it would be game over, but there was still an opportunity now. She would kill him to destroy the evidence. Immediately, Nana pretended she wasn't an enemy of humanity and that he was misunderstanding. Hadadera immediately cut her off, only hinting that he currently needed a girlfriend. Eventually, Nana appeared in Hadadera's filthy dormitory room. Enduring the humiliation of massaging his body, Nana probed about his future prediction ability. Hadadera explained that telling the victim was no different from a doctor delivering news of death. Whether told or not, they would still die. Nana silently cursed this shameless bastard. She could completely deal with Hadadera right here. But the arrogant guy immediately reminded her that currently, the photo represented the true future. He would survive until 10 o'clock tonight, just like a story of fate. Because of this, Nana withdrew her killing intent. Hadadera then mentioned not knowing what would happen after the photo's events, but he was determined to stay in the dormitory without going out until then. Nana wanted to leave, but Hadadera wouldn't allow it, wanting her to stay here. Nana stood watching this bastard fall asleep. In his hand was the camera with the ability to predict the future. Night fell, and at that moment the camera produced a new photo. Nana realized Hadadera's ability was to passively predict the future, appearing only in dreams and unable to control what future he saw. After learning he would be attacked, he had tried to see what she would do after attacking him. Among them was a photo that stunned Nana, and she immediately hid it on her person. While Hadadera was sleeping, Nana took the camera to experiment, but in her hands it became just an ordinary camera. So the ability to predict the future resided entirely within Hadadera, and all the old photos of her would be saved in it. Nana wondered if she destroyed this camera, could she change fate? The next morning, as soon as Hadadera woke up, he received Nana's question about whether photos ever failed to reflect the truth. Hadadera gave up trying to answer. He didn't know when the events in the photos would occur, so as long as he avoided the gym at 10 o'clock tonight, he would be fine. Nana recalled the photo. Based on the moon's shape, it was very likely tonight. Hadadera, not paying attention, continuously ordered Nana to clean the room. While cleaning, Nana thought about Kyoouya finding his way here. At that moment Hadadera revealed he would have 5 new premonitions at night, sometimes sensing many damn things like Nana's death. Currently only 4 photos had been produced. Hadadera immediately wanted to search Nana's body to find the final photo. He found the last photo, which was of Nana being stripped. Hadadera showed interest, while Nana continuously suggested changing fate together. Hearing this, Hadadera decided to wait in the gym storage room tonight because he felt he would survive through today. If after 10 o'clock he wasn't killed, then Nana was right. Having achieved her goal, Nana immediately smiled in agreement. Just as the arrogant guy stepped into the bathroom, Nana was about to deal with Hadadera right away when voices of Magu and others talking outside rang out, which would interfere with her killing process. Nana changed her plan. She went to Hadadera's clock and made it run 15 minutes slow. Hadadera stepped out of the bathroom, thinking he would do depraved things to Nana before being killed. He told Nana to come to her room at 10 o'clock tonight, but also warned that if she didn't come, these photos would be made public to the whole school. That night in the gym, Nana had been waiting beforehand. She wanted to use a poison needle to kill Hadadera, but accidentally dropped the needle case on the floor, so she could only use a jump rope to rush forward. Nana had set the clock 15 minutes slow to change fate, killing him before the time shown in the photo. But Hadadera seemed to have realized everything. He immediately pinned Nana down beneath him. It turned out he had already reset the clock. Hadadera also explained that what time it actually was didn't matter. As long as his clock showed exactly 10 o'clock, the assassination would still occur. Hadadera was about to do depraved things to Nana when suddenly she gripped tightly, holding his hand. It turned out that earlier Hadadera had pushed Nana down right next to where she had dropped the needle case, which gave her the opportunity to act. Only then did Nana explain about the 5th photo. When Hadadera decided to stay home, Nana had immediately thought of creating a scene like the photo to lure him into lowering his guard and coming here. It was just a selfie. At that moment the room lights suddenly came on, and the 5th photo was finally revealed. It turned out that in the future, this scene had been witnessed by Kyoouya and Mikiru. Facing them, Nana immediately performed a new act, appearing frightened and demanding Mikiru quickly save Hadadera. The saintly Mikiru immediately rushed to save the guy. It turned out that all morning, Hadadera had been talking about Nana being his girlfriend, making Kyoouya and Mikiru worried enough to come check. Kyoouya pulled out a future prediction photo, just when Nana thought she was about to be exposed. Fortunately, the photo Kyoouya received was the one she had taken herself. Since Hadadera was completely dead, Mikiru couldn't heal him. Kyoouya only found that photo along with the photo of Nana getting soba splashed in her face, but her attitude made him suspicious. Nana immediately explained that Hadadera had been sexually extorting her, showing photos of her in the bathroom and even more depraved ones. Regarding Hadadera's murder, she insisted it wasn't her doing. Mikiru also couldn't find any bruises on his body, suggesting the guy had some illness or was attacked by an enemy of humanity. The naive Mikiru had blocked Kayuya's line of reasoning while also creating conditions for Nana to escape guilt. Nana recalled the achievements she had attained, only feeling these superhumans were actually just so-so. Kayuya silently watched Nana leave the equipment room. She quickly returned to Hadadera's dormitory wanting to destroy the camera and all the photos taken. But at that moment Kayuya was also there. Kayuya looked around the room. He was searching for where Hadadera would keep medicine if he was sick. Nana brought up the hypothesis of an enemy of humanity attack, but Kayuya once again affirmed he didn't believe this hypothesis. Kayuya pulled out the photo Nana had taken. Although in the image she was being strangled, the one who died was Hadadera. Nana claimed it was because the future had changed, and photos weren't always accurate. Kayuya offered another hypothesis, that this wasn't actually a photo taken by Hadadera's superpower. He deduced the abnormality in the photo. Nana in the photo appeared to be strangled to death by a jump rope, but the rope had been wrapped twice. Suicide was one thing, but for a murder, the rope usually only wrapped once, without time to wrap it a second time. Nana easily got past Kayuya on this matter, but his spot-on deduction made her remind herself to be more careful. In his heart, Kayuya actually had his answer. This photo might have been taken by Nana herself to make someone who always believed in their fate. Hadadera let his guard down. Nana changed the subject to Mikiru. Kayuya only said she was still in the equipment room. After Nana left, Kayuya looked around the dormitory room once more. He had missed the opportunity to see all those future photos, and the weapon that killed Hadadera still hadn't been found. Returning to her room, Nana was stunned to realize she had left behind one photo. In the equipment room, Mikiru was still trying to save Hadadera. At that moment she suddenly saw a photo on his body, showing Nana pushing Nanao off the cliff. Right then, Nana also appeared in the room, smiling as she faced the still bewildered Mikiru. In the tense atmosphere following Tsunakichi's death, as Mikiru was curious and worried about the photos he left behind, Nana briefly thought that killing Mikiru might be the safest way to protect her secret. But she quickly held back and chose a more sophisticated path, lying. Nana reassured Mikiru that Tsunakichi's true ability wasn't predicting the future, but simply capturing images that appeared in his own dreams, making the photos vague and difficult to verify. When Mikiru questioned that Tsunakichi had previously taken photos that seemed to reflect the future, Nana brushed it off saying perhaps when alive Tsunakichi had better control of his ability, but later it had weakened. This explanation made Mikiru less suspicious, and she decided to hand the photos over to Nana to handle. In the following conversation, Mikiru revealed she was considering trying to resurrect Tsunakichi, and she herself mentioned that using this ability to resurrect others would shorten her own lifespan. Nana appeared surprised as she hadn't known about this limitation of Mikiru's ability, and she only replied that if Mikiru did that, she would be sad because Nana didn't want to lose the only friend who always trusted her. These seemingly emotional words made Mikiru feel even more at ease. Afterward, Tsunakichi's funeral was held in a heavy atmosphere. There, Kayuya argued that Tsunakichi didn't die from illness or accident, but was very likely murdered by another human, and he requested an autopsy to clarify the cause of death. Nana immediately objected and prevented this with the excuse of respecting the deceased, leading to an argument between the two and forcing them to go outside to talk privately. During their exchange, Kayuya mentioned the explosion that occurred the previous afternoon as a suspicious detail related to Tsunakichi's death. But despite Nana's attempts to discourage him, Kayuya still decided to return and open the coffin to check. At that exact moment, Shinji appeared with Yuyuka and unexpectedly used his necromancy ability to raise Tsunakichi's corpse in front of everyone, horrifying all the students at the sight of a controlled corpse. Meanwhile, Yuyuka hurriedly stood up to defend Shinji, affirming he wasn't a bad person and only wanted to prove his ability. This incident not only threw the whole class into panic, but also made Nana realize that Shinji's existence was a great threat to her plan. Afterward, Nana began secretly observing the relationship between Shinji and Yuyuka, and gradually realized there were many abnormalities hidden behind this couple. The next morning when going to school, Nana asked Yuyuka where Shinji was and received the answer that Shinji didn't usually come to class and was probably sleeping at the dormitory. In the following conversation, Nana expressed surprise at Shinji's ability, but Yuyuka dismissed it as just something he used to show off and wasn't worth worrying about. When night fell, Nana continued following them and was discovered by Kayuya, forcing both to reveal themselves. Then Shinji and Yuyuka also appeared and all four talked together. Shinji mentioned Kayuya's immortality ability and expressed his desire to try using his corpse control technique on him, but Kayuya coldly replied that perhaps he would have to die first. Then Shinji left, leaving Yuyuka behind to tell Nana and Kayuya about her relationship with Shinji, that they grew up in the same neighborhood, lived next door, and attended the same school since childhood. Yuyuka mentioned Shinji's arm, and when Nana assumed it was an injury, Yuyuka explained he was covering a burn scar from a fire at a movie theater 5 years ago, where Shinji had tried to save everyone but couldn't escape in time. and it was Yuyuka who went back to save him. She wanted everyone to believe Shinji was a good person despite possessing a frightening ability. The next morning, Nana appeared tired and was taken to the infirmary by Mikeru to rest. She explained she had been on watch all night, so Mikeru agreed to report to the teacher for her. As soon as Mikeru left, Nana immediately found the fastest way to reach the boys' dormitory without being discovered. There she killed Shinji with a poison needle and quickly returned fearing Kyouyu's suspicion. On her way back, Nana stopped when she saw a cat stuck in a drain. At the same time in the gym yard, Kyoyu became suspicious and asked Mikeru to take him to the infirmary where Nana was lying, but she wasn't there. Right then Nana appeared from the window and asked Kyoyu, Mikeru, and Yuyuka to help rescue the cat. She suggested Yuyuka use her ability to break open the drain cover, but Yuyuka refused with the excuse of allergies preventing her from using superpowers. Kyoyu said he had cat food, so he went back to get it. Eventually the group rescued the cat, and Kyoyu began wondering whether someone who couldn't abandon such a small life could really be a murderer. That evening, Nana continued her plan to kill Yuyuka, but was unexpectedly ambushed. The attacker was Shinji, and when piecing together what Yuyuka had said, Nana realized the hole in the story about the emergency exit and how Yuyuka broke down the door with her ability, which Nana had immediately believed without suspicion despite previously feeling something was wrong. From this, Nana was shocked to realize the one who truly possessed the necromancy ability was Yuyuka, while Shinji had died long ago and was just a corpse she controlled. Nana was pinned to the ground by Shinji under Yuyuka's control. Yuyuka began telling about her date with Shinji, saying he was an arrogant person who despite scoring 98 points, still got angry for not getting 100 and once tore up a test in front of the class, but also admitted Shinji was kind-hearted. She recounted that during their date at the movie theater, despite being annoyed he still held her hand. Yuyuka bought tea while Shinji childishly bought soda. She told of how the drink of the person sitting next to her spilled on her skirt. And because that person didn't apologize, Shinji got angry and accidentally spilled his drink on her skirt too. While telling the story, Nana noticed the objects under the bed, which angered Yuyuka, who threatened her, then continued telling how because she was scared of horror movies, she had hugged Shinji's arm tightly throughout. Shinji said he wasn't scared but was still trembling. When the movie ended, the fire alarm went off causing chaos throughout the theater. Everyone was evacuated. Yuyuka ran out first believing Shinji had been rescued, but when she saw him again, Shinji was lying on a rescue stretcher. The uniform that didn't fit made her heartbroken. Returning to the present, Yuyuka threatened to expose everything Nana had done to the class, claiming Tsunekichi was killed by Nana, and that both Nakajima and Shibusawa were involved. Nana admitted it but affirmed that she killed people. She didn't play with corpses. Continuing from the previous episode, Nana was in an extremely dire situation with Shinji locking her limbs tight, unable to move even a fraction. At this point everything had completely fallen apart as Nana had discovered the earth-shattering truth that the Shinji everyone saw every day was actually just a walking corpse, a cold and soulless puppet, while the person pulling the strings and controlling his every action was none other than Yuyuka, the seemingly shy and timid girl who was always by his side. Yuyuka was a necromancer with the ability to manipulate corpses, and she was using that very power to command Shinji to tighten his grip in order to end Nana's life and silence any witness to this horrifying secret. In that fleeting moment between life and death, Nana kept a frighteningly cool head because she knew she couldn't match the muscular strength of the puppet Shinji, so she decided to attack the psychological weakness of the controller. Nana pulled off a spectacular deception by lying that she had the ability of clairvoyance and could hear the inner voice and thoughts of Shinji, promising to help Yuyuka communicate with her lover if Yuyuka would spare her life. Yuyuka, who loved Shinji blindly and obsessively while always craving to hear her lover's voice, immediately wavered before this tempting offer. The moment Yuyuka let her guard down and signaled for Shinji to loosen his grip, Nana immediately struggled free and ran desperately into the pitch-black night to find a way to survive. Realizing she had been painfully deceived, Yuyuka flew into a mad rage and together with the puppet Shinji chased after Nana, creating a breathless pursuit through the dense and gloomy forest. While running for her life and dodging attacks from behind, Nana never stopped observing to find her opponent's weakness. She deliberately shouted back asking about the glittering necklace Yuyuka was wearing around her neck, and Yuyuka in her heated state confidently confirmed it was the important medium that helped her perform necromancy. Memorizing this, Nana decided to perform a bold and risky test by suddenly turning around and pretending to lunge straight at Yuyuka with a motion as if trying to snatch that necklace. Yuyuka reacted quickly and dodged Nana's grab, but in that split second, an unconscious natural reflex betrayed everything. For instead of raising her hand to protect the necklace she had just claimed was important, Yuyuka hurriedly pressed her hand against her back pocket. That small action didn't escape Nana because it confirmed with certainty that the necklace was just a decoy to mislead, while the real controlling object was safely tucked in the necromancer's pocket. Without revealing that she had figured out her opponent, Nana continued running deeper into the forest. But the situation grew worse when she discovered she was surrounded. From the shadows of the trees, numerous dark figures staggered out to block her path, and they were dried-up corpses of unfortunate victims who had long ago perished on this island, now awakened by Yuyuka's power to join the hunt. Cornered by the numerous undead army, Nana had no choice but to rush into a nearby abandoned house to make her stand. Ironically, even inside that decrepit house there were corpses waiting, driving Nana into a corner with death seemingly imminent as the cold hands of the undead were about to touch her. But at the most desperate moment, a ray of hope came from the horizon as dawn began to break. Sunlight was the natural enemy of necromancy, so when the first rays pierced through the gaps in the wooden walls, the undead including Shinji immediately collapsed and returned to being harmless, motionless bodies. Yuyuka stood at the door grinding her teeth in frustration, because she couldn't act now that daylight had come and her power was neutralized. Not willing to let Nana escape, she decided to change her plan by locking Nana tight inside this abandoned house. She closed the door, and Nana inside deliberately created loud noises like hammer strikes to make Yuyuka believe she was panicking and using nails to reinforce the door to hide. Hearing this, Yuyuka sneered and left reassured to attend school as normal, planning to leave Nana to slowly die in fear and return to finish her off at night when her power recovered. Throughout that day, Yuyuka lived in a sense of victory as she blended in with her classmates with an innocent, harmless smile, certain that her prey was securely trapped. But when night fell and Yuyuka returned to the abandoned house with a cruel smile to end the game, she received an ice-cold shock when the door was wide open and inside was completely empty because Nana had vanished without a trace. The next morning at a secluded location, Nana appeared before Yuyuka intact and frighteningly calm. Nana's presence was like a slap across Yuyuka's face. Without letting her enemy regain composure, Nana began her psychological dissection and unmasked each layer of Yuyuka's facade. She explained in detail about last night's spectacular deception, that the hammer strikes Yuyuka heard before leaving weren't actually Nana panicking and nailing the door shut as she mistakenly thought, but rather the sound of Nana calmly using tools found in the storage house to remove each nail and take off the wooden planks. Nana had fooled Yuyuka's hearing and subjective assumptions, making the hunter confidently leave without checking again, giving Nana the opportunity to escape easily right after. Next, Nana delivered the decisive blow by pointing straight at Yuyuka's pocket and exposing the secret of the controlling object. She recounted the moment in the forest when her failed grab had triggered Yuyuka's protective reflex, confirming that the object controlling Shinji wasn't some advanced magic, but a corner of a test paper stained with Shinji's blood or DNA that Yuyuka had hidden carefully in her pocket. Each of Nana's sharp arguments was like a knife cutting deep into Yuyuka's panicking mind, stripping bare the naked truth about the twisted relationship between her and Shinji. Under the tremendous psychological pressure Nana created combined with having her greatest life secret exposed, Yuyuka gradually lost control and screamed, then confessed her crime. In her frenzy, Yuyuka admitted that Shinji had never loved her, but rather he hated and despised her clingy behavior and the suffocating obsessive love she gave him. Shinji wanted to break up and escape from her, so unable to accept that truth with her extreme possessive mindset. Yuyuka had killed the one she loved to keep him by her side forever and turned him into an obedient puppet who could never refuse or leave her again. The moment her confession ended was also when Yuyuka completely broke down and revealed a fatal opening. For a professional assassin like Nana, this was the perfect opportunity. Without hesitation, Nana lunged forward and acted swiftly and ruthlessly, ending the life of the deranged necromancer and forever burying the secret of Shinji's death in darkness, leaving behind a twisted love tragedy resolved in the bloodiest way. Nana examined the corpse on the ground. It had only just begun to smell. She deduced that because it had been placed in an area without sunlight, it took longer to decompose. Only now did Nana think back that she should have spared Yuyuka to let her search the memories of corpses and thereby learn what had happened on this island. But what's done was done and couldn't be undone. Nana decided to focus on completing her missions. Everyone she had come into contact with would certainly disappear. What she needed to find out now wasn't what had happened to the corpses, but how to utilize them. She found Habu, a girl with the ability to transform reptile body fluids into toxins, then exploited Habu to execute her next plan. While Habu wasn't paying attention, Nana used a poison needle to kill her, then took the phone from her bag, deciding to find the most appropriate time to send a message to Kaori, Habu's friend, in order to remove Kyoya's suspicion from herself. Nana then went to Kaori's room to execute her plan. While preparing, she also discovered the window was broken, but didn't pay much attention and returned to school. Just as Nana had anticipated, Kyoya immediately questioned her upon meeting about why she hadn't been at school. Nana put on her pitiful fake face again, telling how Yuyuka had died protecting her. Kyoya couldn't believe what he was hearing, so Nana led him, along with Mikeru, Seiya, and Maguo, to the scene at the cliff. On the way, she also mentioned that Yuyuka had killed Shinji to make him hers. Additionally, Nana told how she had accidentally revealed Yuyuka's secret to someone, which had driven Yuyuka crazy and made her try to use Shinji to kill her. But fortunately Nana had persuaded Yuyuka to calm down. Unexpectedly, Yuyuka said she wanted to go to heaven with Shinji, then turned and jumped off the cliff. That was everything that had happened. Nana also didn't want Kayouya to examine Shinji's body, so she begged Maguo to cremate his body, and conveniently they also disposed of all the remaining corpses on the island. Seiya wanted to tell others about this, but Nana firmly disagreed because she had heard voices from the forest that could manipulate the psychology of vulnerable people like Yuyuka. Kayouya didn't believe a single word from Nana. He asked where she had been before, and after the deaths of Tsunakichi, Yuyuka, and Nanao, and questioned why every time someone died, she disappeared. Before Nana could answer, a scream came from inside the school. A student had discovered that Kaori was dead. Kayouya examined and estimated that Kaori had only been dead for 2 hours. He also guessed the killer had used the same technique as with Tsunakichi. To Nana's surprise, Kayouya suddenly grabbed the contact lens case on the table and poured it straight into his mouth. A hot current flowed through his body, making him collapse to the ground. Seeing this, Nana ran to open the window to let more air into the room. Deep inside, Nana felt very disappointed that this poison couldn't kill Kayouya, but at least it made him suffer for a moment. Kayouya knew Kaori had died from trying to put in contact lenses laced with poison. This was definitely murder. Mikiru also informed that Kaori's ability was short-distance instant teleportation. Kayouya immediately suspected Nana had snuck into the room and poisoned the lenses because she had been absent early this morning. But he had no evidence, so couldn't formally accuse her. Nana also redirected suspicion toward Habu, Kaori's close friend who had the ability to turn her saliva into poison. Hearing this, Kayouya didn't interrogate further, but directly concluded Habu was the culprit. They searched everywhere but couldn't find her anywhere. Nana suggested perhaps Habu had also been possessed by the voices in the forest, so Kayouya concluded Habu had likely died, just like Yuyuka. At the same time, Nana knew Kayouya was suspecting her because earlier she had carelessly opened the window from the right side, which was very unnatural since people tend to open from the left first. The only possibility for Nana doing this was that she had been here before and knew the left part of the window was broken and couldn't be opened. She decided to defend herself by saying she had come here once to talk about Kaori's bullying incidents. Hearing Nana being accused, Mikiru couldn't stand it and stepped forward to defend her, presenting the text messages between Kaori and Habu. The last message was at 3 p.m. when Nana was with them. But hearing this, Kayouya knew Nana was the culprit. He recounted all his deductions for the others. This morning Nana had killed Habu, then placed the contact lens case in Kaori's room, then casually came to class. The corpses she had asked Maguo to cremate this afternoon also included Habu's body mixed among them. The cremation also helped her mislead everyone to destroy evidence, which was the phone she had stolen from Habu. Everyone knew Habu and Kaori were friends who knew each other's abilities well. Having the contact lenses returned might make Kaori suspicious and not use them, so she had to send a message in the afternoon to make Kaori trust them without suspicion. That phone was definitely still on Nana because Kayouya hadn't taken his eyes off her since the afternoon. As soon as he finished speaking, he thrust his hand into Nana's pocket to search. Kayouya searched through Nana's clothes to find evidence of her murders in front of everyone. Despite everyone's interrogation, though very angry, there was currently no evidence proving Nana was the killer. Nana secretly sighed in relief when executing her murder method, not knowing how to dispose of evidence of contact with Habu's phone for maximum safety. After placing the contact lenses on Kaori's desk, she planned to leave a message then dispose of the phone right before meeting Kayouya's group. But this would also be problematic because if Kaori didn't die while she was with Kayouya, she would immediately be suspected. Moreover, Habu's body had been discovered mixed among the zombies, so leaving the phone there would be unreasonable. The second option she used was just as Kayouya had deduced. Keep the phone on her person, send the message when they weren't paying attention, then quickly toss the phone near the pile of corpses. If she could fool Kayouya, that would be good enough. Kayouya also secretly felt he might have inadvertently let Nana slip away from suspect status. He recalled he hadn't given Nana any opportunity to throw away the phone. Habu's last message was sent at 3 in the afternoon, and within that time frame the phone was still in Nana's hands. So how had she disposed of it? Nana had chosen the third option. At that terrain, sunlight could directly hit the zombie. When the finger placed on the touch sensor decomposed, it would press down on the send button, causing the message to be sent. Though this method was very risky, not to mention external variables like insects or animals, plus the probability of being suspected by Kayouya. Nevertheless, Nana still chose the most profitable option. If the message was sent, it would go according to plan, and the evidence would be disposed of among the corpses. At this moment, everyone in the room immediately questioned Kayouya for suspecting the wrong person. Nana stepped forward in her leader role to summarize everything. claiming the enemies of humanity had manipulated Habu to kill Kaori. Before Nana's manipulations, the students believed completely, and Kayouya could only silently accept this result for now. Whether the toxin was created by Habu's ability or prepared by Nana would be a problem the person before him couldn't solve. Nana was confident of this. Kayouya thought that because Nana had the ability to read minds, no matter how hard he tried, she would catch on. The incident quickly passed. That evening, Nana quickly left the dormitory wanting to dispose of the poison bottle. After the deaths of these people, there would be a major impact on the previous disappearances, and these people had gradually become more vigilant. Mikuru saw Nana using her leader position to go patrol outside and was extremely admiring, even wanting to help her keep watch for a while. Nana only found Mikuru to be a truly strange girl, always wanting to help others. Just as she was about to leave, Nana reminded herself, whether good or bad people, enemies of humanity must all be eliminated. Right at that moment, Mikuru suddenly pulled out a box cutter and pressed it against Nana, interrogating her about her mind-reading ability. Nana immediately tensed up like a bowstring, using the information she had about Mikuru to deduce that despite doing this, Mikuru was actually still scared. Nana immediately took advantage of Mikuru's momentary lapse to knock the knife away, wanting to call everyone over to continue acting. Mikuru wasn't afraid because she knew Nana didn't want her abilities exposed in front of everyone. Nana wanted to use her leader position to pin various crimes on Mikuru, such as being possessed by an enemy of humanity, or that she was actually a fake. Mikuru remained calm. Seeing someone else approaching, she immediately acted normal and left the dormitory entrance. The next day, Mikuru happily gave Nana a gift box. Faced with this situation, Nana could only make excuses to refuse the gift. Mikuru gently leaned in close to threaten Nana, saying she would continue asking until her secret was revealed. Not wanting to be set up like this, Nana quickly thought of countermeasures. On this side, Kayouya was walking with the teacher into the classroom. By now many had stopped coming to school due to recent events, and those who still attended had gathered around Nana's desk. Faced with questions about Mikuru's ability, Nana could only say that because the class had too many people, she couldn't hear Mikuru's inner voice to know what was in the gift box. Indeed, relying only on deduction wasn't accurate. Nana had guessed wrong. Everyone at this moment didn't pay much attention, giving Nana the opportunity to continue her acting role. Everything was actually in Nana's hands, so at least she wasn't afraid right now, and the matter was let go. After school that afternoon, Mikuru followed Nana to the cliff. Nana asked coldly where the real Mikeru was, because if this was the real Mikeru, she would have healed the wound on her hand already. She realized the person before her was a shape-shifting superhuman. The Mikeru before her wasn't afraid even after being discovered. This person exposed Nana as a serial killer who didn't bother choosing targets, but also had good cover, so transforming into Mikeru was a good choice to expose this fake face. The moment Nana opened her eyes, the person before her had transformed into a boy who introduced himself as Takabana Jin. This guy was one of the previous generation's superhumans who wanted to make a deal with Nana. It turned out Takabana had given Mikiru sleeping pills then impersonated her. After dark, the two met in a cave to talk. Takabana mentioned that Kayouya was suspecting Nana, and affirmed he had dozens of cards that could easily convict her, but couldn't find the right dealer. For the past 5 years, he had always wanted to find someone who could continue in his place. Nana made excuses to stall by asking Takabana about what happened 5 years ago. After a while of sarcastic back and forth, Nana learned that Takabana had developed an interest in following her because she had once saved him. And it turned out this guy was the cat that Kayouya often fed milk in the equipment room. Takabana wanted to see Nana's complete character, so he decided to show some sincerity by appearing. At the dormitory, Kayouya was rummaging through piles of books in his room to learn about the type of poison that killed Kaori. He was still full of suspicion toward Nana. Back in the forest, Takabana recounted the story of the school from 5 years ago, when the superhumans suddenly started killing each other. First, someone with abilities like Nanao suddenly disappeared. The killer was a girl who wanted to prove she was the strongest. Then that girl also vanished. One by one they were murdered, turning the class situation into mutual hostility. The abandoned house on the island, or where Takabana and Nana were sitting, were all hiding spots for different groups of ability users. The school quickly withdrew given the situation. Takabana at that time had used his ability to transform into a bird and fly back to the mainland. But when he returned to see his grandmother, they all thought he had sacrificed himself fighting enemies of humanity. Some people even seemed displeased with his existence, so he came back. When there were no more students in school, the school started recruiting again, revealing the government's grand conspiracy regarding superhumans. Takabana wanted to know Nana's murder motive and her life story. He didn't want to kill her yet. Just as he finished speaking, Takabana suddenly collapsed. It turned out Nana had put poison in his teacup. Just as Nana was about to report this uninvited guest to her superiors, Takabana transformed into Kayouya to snatch the phone. then transformed into Mikeru to explain everything again. It turned out all the careless actions when Takabana transformed into Mikeru that morning were deliberately created to push Nana into this big trap. Only now did Nana realize the person before her not only had the ability to transform into others, but could also copy their abilities. This was the true enemy of humanity, a real monster. In the small cave, Takabana furrowed his brow, asking Nana who she was going to call. Nana immediately reminded herself to stay calm. Though the person before her was stronger than those superhuman students, he wasn't invincible. Before Takabana's interrogation, Nana secretly analyzed. If the person before her could really use any existing ability, then there would be no need to sneak around or pay attention to her. She asked him back why he didn't transform into her. If he was also suspicious of her abilities, then transform and investigate himself. The moment Takabana let his guard down, Nana immediately broke through the ice beneath her feet and escaped. Nana planned to run to the dormitory area to call for help, but suddenly Maguo appeared from somewhere throwing a flame toward her, or actually it was Takabana. He then confided that 5 years ago his class also had a girl with a common disease, who thought herself a warrior chosen by an archangel to eliminate the minions of the underworld army, namely the superhumans. Takabana thought Nana was the same. He also expressed suspicion toward whoever was giving her orders through that phone. Nana remained silent. She suddenly smiled and asked why he didn't transform into Sasaki Yuyuka, who could retrieve memories of the dead and investigate himself. Takabana cleverly knew the person before him was probing for his weakness, but he felt very interested in Nana at this moment, so he wanted to learn more about her before she died. Nana silently remembered her father and mother. There was probably an older brother much older than her, but since she became aware, this person had already left home. Nana's father was the chief of the government agency that comprehensively managed superhuman affairs, and her mother was a kindergarten teacher. Both had been killed by the so-called enemies of humanity. Takabana spared Nana, but also reminded her that this island gathered strong children with superhuman abilities who were also extremely arrogant, never taught what failure was. But the corpses appearing in school had caused many abnormal people to emerge. Takabana helped Nana up, advising her to be careful of other killers. When she opened her eyes again, Nana was back in the dormitory. Takabana had left her at Mikiru's door. Nana let Mikiru leave temporarily to ensure her own safety, but the innocent Mikiru only felt Nana was both a good and pitiful friend. Nana explained her parents were killed by enemies of humanity, so she wasn't afraid of them. While Mikiru went to the bathroom crying out of sympathy for her, Nana remembered that time when she had continuously carried her father's body outside begging everyone for help. After crying for a while, Mikiru came back to apologize to Nana for touching her emotional wounds. Before this friend, Nana confided that on that day at midnight, a burglar had snuck into her house. When she woke up the next morning, both her father and mother were already dead. Perhaps an enemy of humanity had taken human form to do it. Nana looked at this friend, continuously reminding herself not to soften. Otherwise she would be betrayed like back then. Nana continued saying pitiful words, and Mikiru went along to end the conversation with her. In the memorial room for deceased students, Kayouya asked the teacher about the school's recent incidents. The teacher only said that until the regular supply ship came again, the school would be temporarily closed. They just needed to wait for instructions. Kayouya requested that next time headquarters called, the teacher should connect him. Nana sat at the funeral recalling her past. That day, the investigators had asked and learned that because Nana forgot to lock the window that day, it allowed the burglar to sneak in and commit his act. At this moment Mikiru beside her seemed unwell. Nana realized this was from using her ability too much, which shortened her lifespan. She secretly noted this for further investigation. That evening in the dormitory room, Nana secretly calculated what to do next, since currently everyone who made her wary had already gone to heaven. Takabana suddenly appeared in her room, and the two talked back and forth about the wound on Nana's back from yesterday. She continued probing Takabana, speculating that he could use the abilities of whoever he transformed into, but also paid the price of that ability. Takabana offered his weakness as an exchange with her. They were mid-conversation when Mikiru knocked on the door, showing concern about her wound and also wanting to come in to help guard her. Takabana had transformed into a cat just in time so Mikiru wouldn't discover their secret. Nana watched Mikiru looking around her room and wondered if she had revealed any clues to be suspected. Mikiru then asked more about Nana's childhood, but she didn't want to reveal this. Takabana in cat form also wanted to hear. He showed excitement, making Mikiru want to hear more. After a while, Nana told that she was once just like normal people, with hobbies like playing chess, Chinese chess, and such. But she usually played alone because the boys after playing and losing would get upset and not want to play with her anymore. Only now did Mikiru understand the difference between her and Nana in defining the word normal. Nana continued that her bad habit as a child was being very lazy about cleaning up after finishing things, so her room was often so messy she couldn't move around. She easily got absorbed in things she liked, such as manga. On the evening of the incident, Nana had stayed in her room playing games until late. Then in the middle of the night when her parents were asleep, she snuck out through the window to go to a nearby convenience store. The little girl back then wanted to buy a newly released manga magazine, so she had snuck out with her own money like that. After returning home, Mini Nana became engrossed in reading manga and fell asleep just like that. Because she was so happy, she had forgotten to lock her room's window, and the burglar had broken in through that path. Nana believed that burglar had thoroughly researched her to exploit that opening. That morning, Nana felt the living room was so quiet. No sounds from father or mother, only blood and a head rolling on the floor. Mikiru quickly comforted Nana by holding her hand. In the distance, Takabana only silently observed. The next day arrived. Just as Nana opened her eyes, she saw Mikiru sitting in her room thinking about something. Right at that moment, Kyoya also walked straight into the room to question Mikiru about yesterday's incident, then told her to follow him quickly. The three of them headed toward the boys' dormitory. At this time, other students had also gathered there. Kyoya showed them the situation inside the room. This time another student had been executed. Nana remained silent. It seemed there was another killer here besides her. Kyoya had examined this corpse. The throat was cut, and there was also a wound on the back as if slashed by a knife. Kyoya then asked about Maguo's whereabouts last night since the victim's room was next to his. Maguo explained he was with his buddies, having preached to them for 5 whole hours. His friends had been dozing off and didn't hear any sounds. Kyoya calculated, thinking the victim might have been dealt with after Maguo's sermon ended. Kyoya wanted to ask about the abilities of those 3 friends to prevent the possibility that all 4 of Maguo's group were the culprits. First was the brown-haired friend whose ability was to mimic others' voices, with the weakness of having to repeat himself continuously or he couldn't stop. Next was the blonde kid who suddenly slumped down, and the bathroom next door suddenly made a noise. It turned out this guy had the ability to separate his soul from his body, with the weakness that the soul and body weren't the same. Finally was the purple-haired kid whose ability was to turn himself into a magnet. Kyoya recalled that the victim named Ishii had appeared at Yuyuka's funeral last night. This morning when his girlfriend came to his room to call him, she discovered the corpse, so the time of death could only be yesterday. Ishii's girlfriend Fuko nodded in confirmation, as she was used to going together with him every day, so even though school was closed today, she still came to her boyfriend's room. Kyoya then asked Fuko to demonstrate her ability. The whole group went outside to a more spacious area because Fuko's ability was to manipulate the atmosphere and turn it into an attack weapon. Kyoya asked Fuko to attack him since his ability was immortality anyway. Fuko immediately turned the surrounding air into a sharp blade that stabbed toward Kyoya. Kyoya slowly stood up from the pool of blood. This ability was truly very strong. Fuko also said she had to be outside to use it properly, as in a stuffy room the ability wouldn't work well. Nana and Kyoya heard this and simultaneously thought that the window at the crime scene had been open at that time, so wind could get in. At that moment, the teacher ran over to report that headquarters had called. Kyoya then dispersed the crowd to go talk with headquarters. Nana and Mikiru returned to the crime scene. Nana considered the possibility that Ishii might have died while trying to escape from the room through the window. Mikiru again seemed dazed. This girl's behavior since morning had been somewhat strange, making Nana worry that the person before her had either discovered something or was simply in poor health. In the cafeteria, Mikiru asked about Nana's plans after graduation. The girl herself said she wanted to become a doctor. This made Nana lower her guard, thinking recent events had made Mikiru this way. Mikiru then invited Nana to come live in her hometown after graduation, saying they could even become a family. Nana suddenly showed displeasure and left the dining table, leaving Mikiru alone there. Returning to her room, though very regretful for showing her emotions, Nana still suspected Mikiru might be trying to ask about something else. At that moment, the teacher came to give her a new uniform. Just as Nana received it, she remembered the poison bottle she planned to use to eliminate Takabana wasn't here. She immediately focused her deduction on Mikiru, thinking she had found it while taking care of her, which would explain all the strange behaviors this morning. Nana immediately worried that the poison bottle had been given to Kyoya. Right then, Kyoya also appeared, but he only asked if she and Mikiru had a fight, and if things were fine, to come with him to see Fuko. The teacher, seeing Kyoya, informed him that soon a high-ranking official from the mainland would come to inspect. Hearing this, Nana reminded herself to speed up the purge. The two went to Fuko's room to ask about her whereabouts after the funeral yesterday. Fuko explained she had just been reading books, and before midnight her close friend came to sleep over. Kyoya then asked about the victim Ishii's habits since the clock in the room was set to alarm at 5 am. Fuko nodded. Ishii had been wanting to lose weight lately, so he needed to wake up early to jog, and would also go to sleep at 11 at night. She added that recently they had been somewhat distant, having been together since childhood after all. After listening, Kayouya left to find more information from Fuko's friend. Only Fuko and Nana remained in the room. Fuko broke down crying, begging Nana to avenge Ishii and eliminate the enemies of humanity together. Leaving the room, Kayouya asked Nana what she had noticed. Nana calmly said a few things casually. She believed Fuko wasn't the culprit because the funeral ended at 7 in the evening. Then Maguo in the next room preached for 5 hours until 11. And during this time any disturbance would have been detected immediately. If so, the culprit would have to wait until Maguo's room finished preaching before entering, meaning after 12 o'clock. But Fuko had an alibi for that time since her friend came to her room and slept over at the same moment. Kayouya confirmed Ishii's time of death was after Maguo finished preaching because in the corner of the crime scene, there were insects attracted by light. The body was discovered in the morning when the room window was open and the lights were on. So the victim's body must have been in that state for several hours. According to the information received, Ishii went to sleep at 11 and quite hated insects. So before sleeping he would have closed the window and turned off the lights. Kayouya deduced that Ishii had been murdered while still awake, and the open window was to facilitate the culprit's ability. Eliminating the victim after 12 o'clock also didn't make sense because no killer would turn on the lights before killing someone. Nana raised the possibility that Ishii had turned on the lights to fight the culprit, then tried to escape through the window. Kayouya revealed that Ishii had the ability to shrink his body to any size, so when attacked he would have used his ability. Moreover, the culprit might not have fought Ishii directly, just needed to put poison in the contact lens case. Killing the victim head-on was very difficult, but with Fuko's help it would be different, and the messy room was also evidence. Kayouya recalled that Ishii's throat was cut cleanly so the victim couldn't make a sound. The culprit likely paid attention to surrounding sounds so chose this method. Nana was quite surprised that the person before her had such excellent analytical ability. Kayouya said nothing more. He would wait until finding Fuko's motive before proceeding. Nana also turned to leave, wanting to investigate in Mikiru's room. While Mikiru was bathing, Nana rummaged through the room. Though she found the old uniform, there was no poison bottle on it. She also found Mikiru's diary, but just as she was about to open it, Nana stopped. She thought that Mikiru was such an innocent person. She wouldn't write anything too serious in here. In the diary, Mikiru wrote in detail about their friendship story, almost as if she placed absolute trust in Nana. Just as she was feeling moved, Takebana appeared in the room with the poison bottle in his hand. He returned the phone and poison bottle to her, then invited her to have a meal. Before leaving, Takebana advised her to cherish Mikiru more, and also that the girl seemed to have been bathing for quite a while. Only then did Nana hurriedly open the bathroom door, only to see Mikiru collapsed in the bathtub. Nana immediately rushed in and saw Mikiru was still breathing. If she just left Mikiru here, the girl would die on her own without needing her to act. But Nana didn't do that. She ran over and lifted Mikiru's body out of the tub. Mikiru lay on the bed having difficulty breathing, weak and also showing signs of dehydration. Nana immediately justified her own actions, saying she had to save Mikiru to interrogate her about what had just happened. She quickly went to the teacher's office to find a doctor, but the island's doctor had already returned to the mainland. Nana also noticed there seemed to be no one else in this room. The teacher only made excuses that they had all returned to the staff dormitory area. The teacher only advised her to find Kayouya, but Kayouya was currently doing some things with Ishii's body to confirm the time of death. He only gave Nana some fever-reducing pills and went back into the room. With medicine in hand, Nana ran to find water, salt, sugar, and some vegetables and eggs. She ran to the school cafeteria, using every means to get inside. When she had all the supplies, Nana returned to the dormitory to feed water and medicine to Mikiru. A while later, Kayouya also arrived with his toolkit. He examined Mikiru for a while, but couldn't understand her condition either. Kayouya told Nana to periodically wake Mikiru up rather than letting the girl stay drowsy. Kayouya then looked around, feeling the room was a bit messy. He recalled Mikiru's expression when she met him, but couldn't verify anything. Night passed and day came again. Nana cared for Mikiru while thinking about the case and Kayouya. Kayouya continued to visit the victim Ishii's room to search for more information. Yesterday, after examining the corpse, he learned the victim was cut cleanly from left to right, and there was another wound on the back. The purple-haired friend who came to gossip also mentioned that recently around the school there had been many rabbit and dog corpses appearing, all with their throats cut. Kayouya then brought up Maguo's preaching, wanting to know about the level of noise they could create. The friend said it was quite fine. Kayouya talked while searching through the trash, but truly found no additional information. That evening at the dormitory, Mikiru's fever had temporarily gone down, but Nana's actions of caring for her all night made her feel surprised at herself. At that moment, Fuko suddenly entered the room to ask about Mikiru's wound. Hearing this, Nana asked back why she thought Mikiru had a wound, with her mind all on her boyfriend Ishii. Fuko then offered to watch Mikeru for a while so Nana could rest. Nana immediately refused, watching coldly as Fuko left the room. She thought silently that Fuko was suspecting Mikeru of being involved in Ishai's case, so she would definitely try to silence Mikeru. Another day passed, and only then did Mikeru wake up. The girl explained she had been healing a kitten that day, which was why she collapsed. It turned out that day Takebana had brought a severely injured cat to Mikeru, so she had saved it, probably causing her to faint while bathing. Nana then asked about her thoughtful expression that day. Mikeru explained it was because she hadn't been feeling well lately. Nana silently blamed herself for worrying unnecessarily. Mikeru saw the wound on Nana's hand and came closer wanting to heal her. But Nana immediately stepped back, scolding Mikeru for knowing she would suffer side effects yet still wanting to use her ability. Seeing Nana worry about her like that warmed Mikeru's heart. The two then playfully tease each other, as if living true to their age. Deep in the forest, Takebana looked at the rabbit corpse on the ground, shouting that he already knew this person was the culprit who killed Ishii. Takebana warned this person not to touch or harm animals anymore. The culprit in the shadows heard and left. Takebana recalled Nana's phone. That device had no valuable information, couldn't contact anyone, had no incoming calls, and the estimated casualty numbers had no objective meaning at all. He wanted to trace to the root of Nana's superiors. Elsewhere, that high-ranking person wanted to stop Nana's mission, saying killing 5 or 6 people was enough. From their conversation we learned that the so-called reinforcement coming in the next few days was actually just Tsuruoka, Nana's superior, coming to inspect. Back at the school, Kyoya found the blonde friend to ask about the victim's love story. The blonde friend immediately said Ishii was a very rigid person. Though he often arranged double dates for everyone, he never participated because he already had Fuko. It seemed this friend greatly admired Ishii. Kyoya just silently watched him. At the dormitory side, Mikeru ate while chatting with Nana, not knowing Nana was terribly troubled inside. She had lost time to pointless matters. The next target would be Fuko, staged as suicide. Mikeru saw Nana about to leave and wanted to hold her back, saying she wanted to play chess together. Nana made the excuse of going to bathe to leave, planning to cut off her feelings for Mikeru before Tsuruoka came to inspect. Kyoya was still observing the window where Ishii was murdered. On this side, Nana played chess with Mikeru while chatting. She used the excuse of reading minds to mention someone named Hitomi. Mikeru said that was her benefactor. Hearing this, Nana wanted to know more about that story. Mikeru remembered that 3 years ago when she first came to the island, after using her ability to heal everyone, it seemed to make the other girls dislike her and badmouth her a lot, making her wish she didn't have abilities at all. While sitting near the bridge, Mikeru met a dog that was injured, so she used her power to lick it. This scene was witnessed by a classmate named Hitomi. Hitomi was said to be a very scary person by others, so at first Mikeru was very afraid of her. But the truth was she was a very kind friend. The two quickly became good friends. Hitomi helped her deal with the bullies and even went to school with her. Thanks to Hitomi's encouragement, Mikeru was motivated to heal more people, but their relationship gradually grew distant. The day they reunited was when Mikeru had just fainted after healing a boy, which was also when she learned about the weakness of this healing ability. When she went to the hospital, she met Hitomi there in patient clothes. It turned out she had cancer even before they knew each other. Only then did Mikeru learn Hitomi didn't come to school because of her illness, and only came when needed to protect her. Sometime later, Hitomi also passed away from cancer and Mikeru couldn't do anything. That friend was also the reason Mikeru continued to persist with her healing work. After listening, Nana fell silent. She immediately stood up and left the room while Mikeru looked on bewildered. Nana silently looked at her phone, in pain beyond words as she collapsed. Nana silently recalled her past. When she was young, after having to live with relatives following her parents' deaths, those people weren't good either. While lost in thought, Mikeru walked into the room. She confessed that she had lied this morning. Mikeru had gone to see Kyoya because there was something about Nana she couldn't figure out, but she hadn't said anything yet. Nana thought Mikeru had noticed something and was suspicious of her, but Mikeru instead brought up the matter of her parents. Mikeru asked Nana to try to remember carefully the day her parents were killed. Did she step on something that day that hurt her feet? This was very important. Hearing this, Nana was stunned. Mikeru immediately happily explained her reasoning. Nana's room that day was so messy there wasn't even a place to step. That day she had stayed up late playing games, so toys would surely be scattered all over the room. Nana also recalled in horror that indeed it was so. But by the next day, the room had been completely cleaned. Mikeru said happily that it meant that night her parents had cleaned Nana's room for her. But Nana immediately said she couldn't remember the past that clearly. Mikeru recalled what she had heard. Nana was shocked when she discovered her parents had died after leaving her room and going down to the living room. Moreover, her parents had always reminded young Nana to clean up. So how could such people forget to close the window when cleaning her room? Nana couldn't believe this truth. Mikiru said again that her parents were such gentle people. They must have carefully closed the door and cleaned without waking her. Nana still wanted to blame herself for her parents' deaths, but Mikiru insisted it wasn't Nana's fault, advising her to let go of everything, since after all the one who really killed her parents wasn't Nana. Nana felt Mikiru's embrace. Only now did she understand why Mikiru had worn that thoughtful expression for several days straight, just to find a way to comfort her. Thinking about how she had suspected this friend these past few days, Nana felt even more guilty, and also felt the child inside her was gradually being healed. Mikiru just smiled and invited her to go see the supply ship arriving tomorrow. The next day, stalls with all kinds of clothes were set up outside for students to buy. Nana went with Mikiru but still felt dazed about yesterday's events. She was looking at a pen she wanted to buy for Mikiru when suddenly Kyoya appeared behind her. He had found the culprit and wanted Nana to come with him to help. Initially, Kyoya thought the culprit's motive was Ishai's unfaithfulness, but after asking those other friends it seemed that wasn't the case. Plus, there were those animal harm cases too. Nana thought that continuing to make claims without evidence would provoke the real culprit. Kyoya looked toward Fuko, thinking if they didn't find the culprit soon, who knows who else might die. By afternoon, Nana and Mikiru returned to the dormitory. Nana shyly gave Mikiru the pen she had been eyeing since morning. Mikiru was also very happy and gave Nana a pillow in return. The two chatted happily. Nana also apologized for getting angry at her friend several times, but Mikiru didn't mind. The two smiled and talked to each other. Mikiru even mentioned the war against enemies of humanity, stirring complex emotions in Nana. On his side, Kyoya continued searching through the victim's room. He took out Ishai's blood-stained uniform and placed it on the bed, then summarized everything. That night, Nana was hugging the pillow Mikiru gave her when Takabana appeared outside the door. The two talked again. Takabana mentioned Mikiru, making Nana alert. He reminded her that Mikiru had just followed a trail to the beach. He had disguised himself as Maguo to ask and learned someone had called her to go there for a private talk. But Mikiru wouldn't say who. Nana immediately asked worriedly for the address, wanting to go there, but also lucidly asked what Takabana wanted. Takabana wanted Nana to wear his necklace so he could help her resolve her troubles. Without many words, Nana immediately ran to the abandoned house by the beach where there was a distinctive tall pine tree according to his directions. She felt something was wrong. The killer might have called Mikiru there to deal with her. Nana wanted to ask classmates for help, but time was running out, so she decided to find Kyoya for assistance. On this side, Mikiru was waiting under the pine tree when something lightly slashed her cheek. The killer revealed the reason for killing those dogs and cats. Everything that people called cute deserved to be destroyed. Mikiru fearfully backed away. This person was very upset that she had saved the cat before, and moreover Mikiru was very pretty, worthy of being killed. In the dim light, Nana was running desperately when she received a call from Tsuruoka asking about the situation. Tsuruoka mentioned the bonus money Nana would receive after completing the mission, and continuously touched on her past pain to remind her to complete the mission. Nana immediately came to her senses, not wanting to care about Mikiru anymore. On this side, Mikiru was fearfully running into the forest, the killer's echoing voice still following her. She was chased to the abandoned house, her face bruised purple, but still believing Nana would come save her. Sure enough, just as a knife flew toward Mikiru, Nana arrived in time to block it for her. Nana apologized to Mikiru for letting things get to this point. She had planned to let the culprit be Fuko or whoever, but unexpectedly it had involved Mikiru. The culprit was someone who had pretended to listen to Maguo's preaching, while using his astral body to go out and commit the crime. He was also the one who wielded that sharp knife. Opening Ishai's window was to listen to Maguo's preaching to create an alibi, and also to allow the astral body to return in time. That day when the window was opened, Ishai let his guard down and the blonde guy cleanly cut his throat in one stroke, then used Maguo's preaching to direct the guilt toward Fuko. The culprit was the blonde guy, also named Surumagawa Rentaru. He wasn't afraid of being caught and even planned to continue. Mikiru wanted to heal Nana, but she firmly held onto the person beside her. Rentaru continuously stabbed Nana's back to push her away. The one he wanted to kill now was Mikiru. Nana wanted to create an opening for Mikiru to escape. Just as the next blow came down, Nana turned to catch the knife, holding Rentaru's spirit body so Mikiru could escape. Seeing Mikiru not leaving, Nana immediately screamed and cursed Mikiru as an idiot. She had been used all this time, so why stay? Nana and this guy were the same type, and she also hated people like Mikiru. Mikiru tearfully left in heartbreak. Only then did Nana feel relieved and release her hand. Actually, there was no trap at all. Nana laughed mockingly at herself. Rentaru was furious at being deceived and was about to kill Nana when he suddenly collapsed in pain. It turned out that at the school, Kyoya had made it in time to the bathroom where Rentaru was hiding to deal with him. Going back to the past, Nana had discreetly revealed the culprit was Rentaru, and they had discussed how to deal with that killer. If Kyoya went to save Mikiru, it wouldn't work, because if the spirit body was caught, Rentaro could pull it back to protect himself, so Nana going would be better. Kyoya wanted to mobilize the whole class to go, but Nana continuously made excuses that only the two of them needed to act. Returning to the present, Nana lay silently in her own pool of blood, reflecting on life, feeling it was fitting to fall here. Just as she was about to ascend to heaven, Mikiru suddenly appeared from somewhere, using her healing ability again. Nana felt herself coming back to life and was terrified, feeling she didn't deserve to be saved like this. Mikiru used all her power, silently hoping Hitomi would be beside her in this moment to save Nana. When the healing light completely faded, Nana stood silently looking toward the beach. Her body had been completely healed. In the distance, Mikiru lay there without sound, without breath. Nana recalled all the memories between them. She screamed and cried in agony, begging, but Mikiru would never respond again. Mikiru's death brought the story of this island to a close.